Hey, it's Jane. How are y'all doing? Yeah, good. Great, excellent. I'll assume. Um, huh. Doing okay today. A little more energy today. A lot, really low energy yesterday. It really does seem to be a roller coaster. Some days I just feel completely burned out, and some days I'm kind of like find an hour or two between dilating when I'm not completely burned out. But yeah, I guess this is a positive day. So I got new dilators. I think that's slightly crooked. I got new dilators. Yay! Um, so I'm going to show off all of it. The old ones, the new ones, give my opinions, explain the 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 difference between them and the feel. The feel is everything. It's all about feel. Because if it's uncomfortable, it kind of puts you off. I mean, it doesn't put you off, but it just makes it a little more difficult to go, oh, Jesus, another dilation. But if it's more comfortable, then, you know, it's not so bad. So I think it's important. Comfort is definitely important, at least at this stage. So where should I start? So, okay, let me just lay down some groundwork here. So basically, when I talk about dilation, I'm talking about dilation for people who do the penile inversion procedure, because that's what I had done. That was what was available to me for free. Um, I had no choice, so that's what I did. It seems the peritoneal pull through seems to be quite popular down in the States. Um, can't really speak to it. I've read about it. I kind of get an idea of how it works. Apparently, dilating after is not as super critical as it is with penile inversion, because with penile inversion it is super critical, and I'm gonna get to that. Um, and then the other big one is oh, it's that stupid anomia hitting me again, forgetting the proper names of things. Okay. You can tell how prepared I am, right? I am such a professional um, YouTuber. I'm not even. I can't even remember the name of it. Um, uh, colon vaginoplasty. I know watching me duck duck go things is probably annoying. So hey. Um, uh, sorry. Yes. Sigmoid. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple, but the three biggies are penile inversion, which is what I had because it was the only thing that was available to me. Peritoneal pull through, um, and the sigmoid procedure. And with the sigmoid procedure, they take a chunk of the sigmoid colon, cut it out, um, uh, laser burn the colon back together again to seal it up, and then they take that chunk of colon tubing, seal it up at the end, and then they put it into place, and that's your vaginal cavity. That actually is the one I would, if I had a choice of doing any of them, that's the one I would have chosen because that's the one that gives you the best depth, um, and also the least need for dilating. Um, and it's self-lubricating, and there's all, I know some people say shit about odor, but you know, proper hygiene, no odor, so it's not an issue. But anyways, I'm talking about dilating, and I'm talking specifically about dilating for penile inversion, because that's what I had. um, and that's where dilation is the most important. So let me show you the dilators that I was given from the surgeon first, and I'll talk through them. So they come in a nice soft velvety bag. There can be four, a number 1 through a number 4, but they don't give anybody a number 1 anymore because it's just uselessly too small. They give you a 2, a 3, and a 4, and the idea is that you should use the 3. At least these are the instructions from my surgeon. Every surgeon's instructions may vary. Our instruction is to do 5 minutes on the number 3, followed by 25 minutes on the number 4, and you see the difference, right? And they have dots on them for calculating your depth. Right? So that's kind of what they want you to aim for. But if you have extra bad swelling, they give you the 2 as well, so that you do 5 minutes on the 2 and then 25 minutes on the 3. So that's what they look like together. So the 3 that you get from the surgeon, and maybe there's still surgeons who give you all 4, but I think the bulk of surgeons these days just give the 3. But you can see they're all the same length, and they're all the same shape. It's just the thickness that varies, and you can see the thicknesses. Now, I'm going to be actually a bit professional about this, and I'm going to measure them, because I've been saying what they are, well, guessing mostly, and I never did measure them. So I'm actually going to measure them right now for the first time. So the number 2, which I've never used, this has never even been inside my body. The number 2 is, oh Jesus, hold on. I am 54 years old. So go easy on me. Did I scratch it? No, I didn't scratch it, but I'm gonna be more careful. Okay. What the hell is that? 32 millimeters in diameter. 32 millimeters. What is that in inches? I don't know. There's 25.4 millimeters to an inch, and this is 32 millimeters. The number 2 is 32 millimeters. You can do the math. Okay. I'm going to be a little more careful with this one and measure down at the very end, because well, I might not be using this one anymore, but still, better safe than sorry. This is 34. Well, that's not much difference. And then, and the one that I used to call the Orange Mamba, but wait till I show you the new ones. Its big one is big. This is I'm so professional at this. I'm like the ultimate YouTuber. I'm serious. 37, a smidge over. Let's see, 25.4 plus 12.7 is uh 37. Okay, this is a smidge less. I said before that this was an inch and a half. It's just a smidge less than an inch and a half, or it is actually an inch and a half, and my mic is, I don't know. I don't see how this mic could be that far off. So I think this is slightly smaller, but anyways, this is 37 and a bit millimeters, 34, 32. They do look, what does it look like? Sorry, I'm actually doing some discovering here. Because I've never actually, I don't even think I've ever pulled this out of the thing. I think this might be the first time I pulled it out of the bag. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even pulled it out of the bag. Yeah, I would say that's about 2 millimeters of difference. So, what's the point? I whatever. Anyways, so these are the old ones, right? Or, well, these are the ones that were given from the surgeon. Now, these absolutely, absolutely need to be used if you have internal swelling, because you need that tapered start. The bend probably helps us with this, probably helps with the swelling as well, but definitely that tapered start is absolutely needed. Um, is absolutely needed for um, like heavy internal swelling. I wouldn't even consider trying something new um, early on. But my internal swelling is negligible. I think there is still swelling there, but it's not even worth. I don't even think about it. It certainly doesn't cause me any discomfort. And in fact, because the swelling is down so far inside, these are causing me discomfort because they are very pokey at the end because they're so small, right? This one was always pokey, even like the very first time I dilated. And when I was going through my maximum internal swelling, this always felt pokey. But this one felt fine. When I was swelling, this one totally felt fine. But once the swelling went down internally sufficiently, then this started hurting as well. Now, you might say, well, how could that hurt? How could that be pokey at the end? I mean, you're supposed to be, you put it in, and then you just gently hold it at that position, and, um, you know, you should be fine. Okay, well, maybe that's the theory. And of course, I can only speak for myself. Everyone's experiences are unique to their own self. So I don't speak for anybody else. And, you know, you do what you do. I'm just talking about my experience. If I just put my dilator in to the end of the cavity and just held it there, like without putting any pressure, I was noticing I was losing depth. Now, anybody who's been through this before, I can hear your complaints, but as the swelling goes down, more dots start to become visible because the swelling goes down. So it goes into whatever its length is, and then as the swelling goes down, it looks like you're losing depth. And you're absolutely right. That absolutely has happened. Swelling is down quite a bit on the outside as well as in the inside, and I have watched the dots receding, but I can feel how far inside my body this thing is going. Remember, I have to do this 4 times a day. My life revolves around this goddamn dilator. I can feel the length of the cavity getting shorter, as well as the measurements that I've been doing and calculations I've been doing. I am 100% convinced that my cavity is getting shorter without pressure. So I'm applying pressure. Now, not so much pressure that it hurts while I'm dilating, because remember, you got to keep this bugger in there for 25 minutes, right? So if you're pushing for 25 minutes, right, um, and it hurts while you're pushing, you're definitely pushing too hard. Absolutely. And it never hurts when I'm dilating. I push till I'm like, yep, I can feel that pushing. I can feel the skin in there, stretching. I can feel things stretching, but it's not hurting at all. However, doing that for 25 minutes, then you finish, you go, you douche, you clean up, you get everything, you lay down to air dry, and then you can feel the achiness inside from how pokey it is, because it's a very specific point. It's not like the whole inside is achy. It's just right at the very tip in the inside. It's a very focused achiness, and it's absolutely 100% because of the fact that this tapers down. So initially, yes, absolutely, you need these buggers because these things are the perfect shape if you have swelling. But for me, because I have to push, they're that taper is a terrible shape for me now. So I ordered uh, a few dollars. Well, I order a set of 7, which I'm going to show you all of them because some of them don't even make sense to me. It's a set of 7. It cost me $68 plus tax on Amazon. Would I say it's worth it? Well, I'm only using the 2 largest sizes. So the other 5 serve no purpose. I think there's another 5-unit version of this brand. This is the actual brand. Um, da, 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 da. So it says plastic grade medical dilators, travel pouch. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So that's what I got. It says made in the USA. I don't know if you care. Um, I would say the quality is not quite as good as I would have hoped for that price point. But then at the same time, I was looking at things that were equivalent to that were costing twice the amount of money. So you gotta take it as it is. Anyways, um, I'm going to show you the 2 that I've used because there's the only 2 that I'm going to use. So this is the second largest one. See the end there? It's got a curve in the bottom of it, which is actually quite nice because if you are pushing, it feels comfortable, more comfortable on the fingers than the flat end of this with the sharp edge. Like pushing on that for 25 minutes is less comfortable than pushing on that for 25 minutes. So it's a nice indentation, nice shape. There's no graduation on it, so you're basically going by feel and and vibe, I guess. I don't know. At this point, I don't really pay attention to the dots, anyways, because they're not telling me what I need to know. What tells me what I need to know is what I'm actually feeling inside. So the reason why I bought these is because of the end. When I talked about them before, I said they were hemispherical. Well, obviously I'm wrong. They're not hemispherical, but they are a lot more diffuse in their shape and even. And if you compare it like that, well, these two actually, I think these two are actually very close in size. Uh, okay, yeah, no. This is 35 millimeters, and then this is 37 and a smidge. So this is just slightly bigger than this, and I'm not sure if I can notice the difference. I think that feels about the same as that. So that 2.2 millimeters of difference, I don't think that makes any difference. However, that end is so much more comfortable than that end. This I felt achy. I've done 2 dilations with these, by the way, and after both of them, so pushing for the well, that's the smaller of the 2 sizes. This is the this is the bigger one. This is a monster. it's, look, it's huge. It's what is it? This one is a ooh boy, it barely fits. This one is 41 millimeters. So this one is so 37 and a smidge and 41. So this is almost 4 millimeters bigger than that. You definitely feel the difference because this one's like, oh my god, that's big. But I can push actually quite a lot on that, and it doesn't hurt at all, and it doesn't hurt after either. So I've had 2 dilating sessions with these two, and after both of them, and I just did mine maybe 15 minutes before I started the video, maybe 20 minutes before I started the video. Um, that's not going to help you because you could be watching this at any point. Well, whatever. I've done 2 dilations with these two, and they were very comfortable during. So 5 minutes with that, 25 minutes with that. They were very comfortable during, and no discomfort afterwards. Whereas every time I get discomfort afterwards with this, and that's even bigger around. So so I can push, not like again, not till it hurts because it doesn't hurt at all when I'm pushing, but I can push, which does at least ensure that I don't lose depth, but potentially even just stretch it a little bit and make a little more depth, possibly. Now, quality, $68 plus tax. I mean, like, really, what are you going to expect? It's a pretty sturdy plastic. This is the biggest one. And if I squeeze it with my hand, I can just barely deform it ever so slightly. It's a very sturdy plastic. I have pretty strong hands. It's a pretty sturdy plastic. However, I after my second dilation, it slipped out of my hand and I dropped it on the floor, and the end cap popped out, and I don't feel any glue residue. I mean, maybe it's around the very outer edge. I'm not sure. And it's not a press fit because with it in there, you can feel it's a wiggle fit, right? And like it's not a press fit. Um, so I thought, well, maybe there was a vacuum, but these are both hard plastics. There's no way you can maintain a vacuum between hard plastics. So I don't know what kind of adhesive they put this in with, but yeah, I dropped it on the floor and it just popped right off. Now, I'll use CA glue to put it back together again and it'll be perfectly fine. And CA glue is fine, and because you can close cuts up with it, you can also fix your dilator. So I don't care that it popped out. And if another one pops out, again, I'll just CA glue it and it'll be fine. But just something to keep in mind. Yeah, for quality, these are absolutely better quality. They're solid. They've got the dots on them. They've got places where you can grip them. The end's not as comfortable. This end is definitely way more comfortable for keeping it there. Um, but yeah, it just hurts. It's pokey. So I'm gonna stop using those. I'm gonna keep, well, I'm not gonna throw them out, but I'm gonna keep them available right by me when I'm dilating in case for any reason I feel like I need to go back to it. But going forward, yeah, I'm using these two. This is basically the same as this, and it's totally fine to start with. It's totally comfortable to start with, and then this one, whoo, that's a workout. um, but yeah, and also the fact that it's not bent. makes no difference whatsoever now. Now, early on with swelling and all that stuff, I would say that bend probably makes all the difference in the world, because if everything's very stiff inside there, going in at that angle and kind of curving up, right? Like that definitely would be more comfortable under heavy swelling, and that would not be. But I don't have appreciable swelling at all, and that just goes, it just pops right in. No discomfort at all. Absolutely no discomfort with these whatsoever, other than the fact that this one's it's a tight fit, but it doesn't hurt. Um, Now let's look at the other ones, because these are what you should be able to do if you're um, dilating for vaginoplasty. You shouldn't really need to be going smaller, but they do get smaller. This is the next size down. So this is the second largest one. That's the next size down. That Yeah, that's even smaller than the number two. So I'm guessing that's probably the size of the number one for these. And that's just the third size down, right? Like, they get silly. And then this is the fourth down. Again, you can see it's smaller and shorter. And the fifth down. So it's the fifth and fourth. And then the fifth and sixth. I mean, there's got to be some kind of conditions for cis women where such a thing would be necessary, but I mean, that's pretty small. And then the smallest one is, look at how small that is. Like, I don't even get it. Like, again, there must be some kind of medical condition that I've never even heard of. But yeah, those are tiny. Anyways, I've got no use for them. Oh, so yeah, mildly annoying that just pops off so easily. But again, after I make this video, I'll go and get some CA glue and I'll fix it, and then it'll be fine. So it's not really an issue. But yeah, totally happy with these. Worth $38 just for those two. This just goes straight in and is perfectly comfortable. And this one goes in, but it's filling, but it's never uncomfortable. Even after 25 minutes of like pushing with this one, it was not at any point uncomfortable. So yeah, that's my switch up in my routine starting today, I guess. And then I'll just keep the old ones in reserve. So just one last look. So you got the old ones with the band and the taper and the tip, definitely comfortable in swelling situations, and then you got the bullets for athletic work. So, and the depth, because obviously they're so much shorter, it's not an issue. Like, for me, my true depth is at the middle dot. That's my true depth. So when you look at the two side by side, let me just get the height the same. So when you look at the two side by side, that's my true depth, right? So there's still plenty of it sticking out. So like, it's not like these things are too short or anything. These things are just excessively long. And anybody who can take that much, that's aspirational. So yeah, that's that. Oh, and one more thing. in relation to the three major types of vaginoplasty, if I had the money to afford it, and some point in the future I do plan on having the money to afford it, I want to go. I want to find the best surgeon that does the um, sigmoid procedure and get a internal revision done where they replace my existing lining with sigmoid lining, because the outside's fine. I love the outside. The aesthetics of it is fantastic. I've got absolutely no complaints with the aesthetics, and it's still swollen, but as the swelling goes down and the suture lines start to blend in, and you know, I'm going to be very, very happy with the aesthetics. The clitoris looks fantastic. The labia minora are they're very stiff, but then I they also have a lot of stitches in them, and I think it might be the stitches that are making them feel stiff. So as those stitches dissolve and break and fall away, I think the labia minora will soften up. At least I hope it does. But it looks fantastic, right? The structure just looks great, and I've got no complaints with that. I just have a beef with the depth, and will one day do a sigmoid revision. But that's just my own personal choice. I like the self lubrication of the sigmoid um, um, uh, um, uh, mucous membrane, and um, and I like the fact that basically after the surgery's done and everything is settled, there you don't have to dilate anymore at all. It's not necessary because the sigmoid just will not shrink. Um, yeah, so someday I will do a sigmoid revision. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, if you haven't done it yet, um, expect to go through 1 metric shitload of paper towel. I feel embarrassment with how much paper towel I have been going through, but it's just everything. It's so messy with all the lube and all the leaky, because I'm leaking all the time, and when I urinate, the pee goes absolutely everywhere, and it's not practical to get it with toilet paper, so I use paper towel to mop up underneath, because and yeah, so I'm going through paper towel like crazy, and so just have a lot, a lot of fucking paper towel. Um. Oh, also too, a couple things on lube itself. So I'm gonna do a little demonstration. Um, I have two kinds of lube. I have KY. Um, yeah, I mean it's KY. Everyone knows KY. And then I've got the one that the surgeon gave me, and I can get this on Amazon as well. So I've been buying more of it, and it's just 54 years old. Medline. Yeah, it's a Medline product. Um, the difference is this is runny. The KY is runny as hell, and this stuff is very stiff. And I'll actually show you. And I actually use both. So before I give you a demonstration of the behaviors of these two jellies, because once you see how this behaves, you'll understand why the stiff stuff is actually good. The whole bottom area, uh, fourchette, is that what it's called? Somebody on Blue Sky keeps telling me what it's called, and I keep going, yeah. I'll try and remember that, and I don't. The triangle area down at the bottom, and I've been talking about it in basically all my videos, right? The part that's wide open because I broke so many stitches. I broke so many stitches because I was not lubricating sufficiently. I was lubricating sufficiently for inside, but the thing is as you push in, if there's any skin around the outside that does not have lube on it, the body of the dilator will grab that skin and start pulling it in, right? And that's why I broke. God, I have no idea. I'm guessing I probably broke somewhere in the ballpark of like 15 stitches, maybe more. I don't know because they were pretty tiny, right? And I wish I could show you, but I mean it's YouTube, so you can't. And yeah, so I've got quite a large open area, although it's shrinking. And ever since I fixed things up with the polysporin and got rid of the bacterial infection, it's starting to close up again. So I'm happy, but it still stings like a motherfucker. Um, but yeah, wide open at the bottom because I broke so many stitches. Because when the first part of the dilator would go in, it'd be sliding in on the lube that was on it, but then that lube would kind of run out around the opening. Still plenty of lube inside, but around the opening it would run dry, and then it would grab the skin, pulling on it and breaking the stitches, right? So there's no such thing as too much lube, okay? I don't care what procedure you're doing. The outside is the most delicate for breaking sutures. So I don't care what procedure you're getting done. Any one of those of the big three, you're going to have outside sutures that are going to be very sensitive to skin pulling. Okay, so this is perfect. This is good advice for everybody. There's no such thing as too much lube, and that's why I use both. This one's runny, um, and yeah, I'm gonna demonstrate this. So this is runny, and let's see, how can I do this? Look at how it runs, right? So it goes around really quickly, right? If you want to lube up the whole outside, right? This goes over the whole area so smoothly, and you can get everything just completely wet with a thinner lube, right? However, it also dries out quicker, which you have to watch, because I do 5 minutes on one dilator and then 25 minutes on the other, and sometimes I've noticed, even though I've lathered up with this lube, even now, just now, like it's starting to feel tacky on my hands, and it's only been seconds, right? Um, this will dry out fairly quickly, the thin stuff. So you got to be careful. I will reapply that before the second um, dilator goes in. So that's the thin stuff. But it is good for that, right? It is good for gooping everything up, because for at least that short period of time when you're pushing the dilator in, it's pretty damn slippery. But I wouldn't use that for sex. I think that's a crappy. I don't think KY's ever gonna wanna wanna support one of my videos, because quite frankly, that would just be shit for sex, in my opinion. Um, so the stiffer stuff, um, this is better for internally, because when you're going in, so let's say I'm doing it with my old ones, right? Because this is what most people are going to be seeing, right? So you have to do 5 minutes on the number 3, and then 25 minutes on the number 4. So you want lots of lube inside, because there's suture lines inside as well, right? So you do not want to break stitches inside any more than you want to break them outside. So you want lots of lube to travel with the dilator inside, right? And the best way to do that is to pile the lube up on top. And this is actually what we were taught, and it's true. It makes sense. So you can see how different it is, because it's basically like soft serve ice cream. And look at that. Look at that. I can hold it there for as long as I need to. I mean, eventually it'll slowly drip off, but you can see it stays there for as long as you need to get it into place, and then you get it into place so that you're coming in at a. So let's do it this way. Sorry, I'm left-handed. Um, you're coming in at a 45-degree angle, and you're getting into the outer labia. You're going to want to run it around a couple times just to smear as much lube around the backside of the dilator, and then you go in, right? And that will carry lube. You can see there's lube all over the front of that. All the way along, there's lube on that. So the thick stuff definitely helps with internal lubrication, and the thin stuff helps with external lubrication, but only for a few minutes before it gets tacky and dries out. And I gotta clean this up because I'm now dripping all over the place. So short of, I would actually be willing to do a dilation, a real dilation, just to show what it's like, but you can't do that on YouTube. And pretty much your surgeon is going to show you videos anyways. So, you know, you're going to get, one way or another, you're going to get to see someone actually dilating. But yeah, I'd show it if I could. This is not obviously how I dilate. I don't get a handful of lube. This is a this is a Mentos in Coca-Cola experiment I'm doing here. Just a complete mess. Yeah. So could I use just could I smother the whole outside with this lube as well as putting it inside? I might just end up doing that. I had already bought this, so it's like, well, I got it, I might as well use it up. So when this is gone, I probably won't replace it. It's shit. In fact, I've used KY products a couple times in the past for, you know, I have never liked KY. Yeah, they're kind of crap. Anyways, so yes, when that runs out, I'll probably just be using this one, and I think it's an excellent lubricant. So it's Medline, and it's on Amazon, and it's like $12.50 Canadian per tube. And oh boy, do you go through these tubes. I'd say one of these tubes lasts a week. So I'm spending, yeah, $12.50 a week on these, because that's how much lube. Again, there's no such thing as too much lube, especially if you want to not break stitches. Oh, ugh, now my hands are all crappy. Yeah, I guess that's basically it from a medical stuff perspective. My healing's going well. As I said, the bottom area is now is starting to close up. It's perfectly clean. It's pink. It's happy. It's healing very nicely. Everything looks great. The polysporin and the changing up my hygiene routine around dilating and staying away from the tap water. definitely has made things so much better. Um, so yeah, that's about it for the medical stuff. Oh, also wet wipes. You'll use a lot of wet wipes, but I don't know. You don't feel as bad about the wet wipes because they're relatively cheap and they're compact packages, and it doesn't feel like you're going through a lot of them because they're so small. But with paper towels, you know, like I have a roll of paper towel on my bed at all times, and I have a roll of paper towel in the bathroom at all times, and um, I think I'm going through like four or five rolls a week. Oh, I feel bad about it, but again, this is an incredibly messy operation, so it is what it is. Um, I said last time I was going to talk about Canadian politics, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to because everything is so in flux right now with Pierre Polyev, Lil PP, um, writing a letter to the Governor General asking for her to bring um, uh, Parliament back so that they can have a no confidence vote. Things are very up in the air right now, so I think I'm going to hold off having any kind of comment on that. But I today, Tom Nicholas. I'm sure most of you watching this would know Tom Nicholas. He's a bread tuber, and I think he does great videos. He just put out a video on on the breeding fetishists, which is hilarious because I've been talking about this has been my kind of be in my bonnet subject last couple of videos. Um, because I'm a depopulist, right? I'm a rational depopulist. That's how I consider myself. And so he didn't really say anything in his video that was new to me. I certainly knew all of the factual information that he shared, but he did have an interesting angle when he was talking about these people who fetishize um, making babies, uh, and they are at least all of the ones online are all right wingers, and they all tend to be a little bit misogynist and definitely anti-progressive, and which doesn't really surprise me. Uh, but the one comment he made, and I love this, is he says, and with all of the with with almost all of the uh, podcasts that he watched, like with the exception of this one couple in Pennsylvania who are clearly right wing nut jobs, um, all of the podcast conversations about needing to make more babies, it was all two men talking to one another. And I hadn't thought about that, but it's true. This is really a men's issue. It is almost exclusively men who complain about depopulation. Hmm. 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 A sexual motivation there, perhaps? Um, so I thought that was really quite funny. I'm talking about this subject for a few videos, and then Tom Nicholas comes out with his own video on the subject. You should watch it. It's good. But again, he's only talking about like responding to the the baby making fetishists. Um, he doesn't actually address um, the concept of ex- not just accepting that depopulation is happening whether we like it or not, but embracing it and trying to uh, make that depopulation happen as structurally as possible, so that it is the fairest for all people around the world, so that there isn't one particular um, a socioeconomic group or cultural group or demographic group, whatever. There isn't any one single group or any set of groups that are disproportionately impacted by depopulation, right? Rational depopulation is saying, okay, it's happening. Let's get this in order and make sure that we depopulate gracefully and carefully and ensure that um, we have a continuation of technological advancement, meaning those few that remain, those fewer children that are born, all get higher and better quality education, um, so that we can, you know, keep ourselves from going extinct. Which I don't think we would. I mean, eventually we're going to go extinct, right? Every species does. There is no such thing as a species that lasts forever, and these morons like Musk who talk about, oh, well, humanity in a million years. No, 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 no. Humanity is not going to be around in a million years. We are a flash. We are a flash of light in the dark. That's all we are. You know, like tuataras haven't changed in like, I don't know, 200 million years or something like that. I don't know, some crazy ass long time, right? Okay, that's great, but they're tuataras, right? They look like lizards. They're proto lizards, and they like breathe once a minute because they basically sit there and do nothing until food is right in front of them. They catch the food, and then they go back to sitting doing absolutely nothing. Okay, sure, right? That is long lived, but who cares? We are so fast, so dynamic, so um, quick to evolve. Like, we are only, depending on what metric you're talking about, you could say we're 2 million years old, or you could say we're 240,000 years old, right? Like, it really depends on what kind of metric you use. Either way, we've only been here a very short period of time. We aren't going to be here for that much longer. I would be surprised if we're still here in 100,000 years. Seriously, I would be genuinely shocked, right? So that's nature. That's how planets work, right? Look at the entire history of the Earth. We're a flash in the pan. That's just the truth of it. And we could have a nice long run out where where we're low population, living in harmony in nature, have super high technology, and have a peaceful coexistence with the rest of life on the planet, right? For thousands of years, 50,000 years, who knows? Maybe at some point along there we figure out how to travel between the stars, travel faster than light. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? But we are going to depopulate, and we can do it gracefully. And these fuckwits like Musk, these baby making fetishists, good God, they need to be stopped, because they're good. They're doing more harm than good. So on that lovely political note, that one was mostly stuff. It was mostly that stuff. So that was good. I'm glad. I'm glad. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I gotta say. Um, and I don't know. In a day or two, I'll come back with something else. It's always something I can bitch and moan about. Love y'all. Hope y'all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, dinner, evening, middle of the night, whatever the hell you're doing.